when you open that app every time. You open Apple Mail every time. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you using Apple Mail?
I don't even know what Apple Mail is. What is it?
The little blue one.
The little mail app. That's what you use, don't you?
No, I don't use that.
Yeah, you do. On your laptop, you do. You're always in there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do use that on my laptop. I don't use
That
it
makes
on my
me,
phone,
that
though.
like hurts something inside me just there.
Oh, hurts me. Like
I think I
know
deleted
can't
it.
talk. Yeah, I use Gmail. I can't talk, but I think it is a bit better than mail. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Hey, I'm Jay Woodard. I am a creative director, photographer and videographer of the Ed32 agency based in the south of Ireland in Cork.
Hi, I'm Judy Russell. I'm a video coach and founder of the Vid Academy.
Hi, I'm Jen Bryan and I'm the co-founder and chief marketing officer of a digital marketing agency called Velocity Growth.
Hi, I'm Sian Horn. I'm a business mentor and coach. I'm also the founder of the National Network for Women in Business called The Club. And I also am the ambassador for Champion Green.
Welcome back to this week's episode, everyone. So this week we are going to be talking about the world of business tools, what we use to grow our businesses, what we use day to day, and what we quite frankly find not useless, I would say, but frustrating, but with no other toolkit potentially in the market to help us out. So to kick off, we're going to start with, what is the one business tool that you could just not live without? And Jay, I'll kick off with you.
oh, I knew you'd come to me first. I have like 5. But
Yeah, go for it.
Realistically, so like I use a software called Bloom.io, Bloom.io. And what that is it's kind of an all-encompassing thing for creators. So there's, Judy, you should do this. What it is invoicing, client CRM, just galleries, all this kind of stuff, like proper templates, emails. It's literally, it's a one-stop shop for you. So like when I go in, I can literally land. So I'll open it here just so I have it here. It's kind of, it's everything. So it's all my projects, it's all the different steps I'm at, and then there's the communication. So there's the leads that come in. So I have a lead form through this into my website. So any lead comes in, I can deal through this. There's the calendars, all my contacts. There's forms like lead capture, scheduling, like get started, like how to getting started with a client and just getting touch base. Like it's brilliant. And then there's also web pages and custom websites and stuff. If you want that, I don't. I built on Wix, but I'm sure we'll talk about that soon as well. But
What's the cost of that?
that is, I think it's $30 a month, which isn't bad at all, because you're paying that because it has all the invoicing as well, and it has all the payments. It goes through Stripe, goes through all that kind of stuff. So to be honest, that's probably what I would not be able to live without, because that's the business. But then there's the likes of, I use Voxer to talk to the VAs I work with. I use obviously Instagram. This Milanote is a huge one for my planning and prep. I would highly recommend Milanote, but we can talk about it another stage. But yeah.
Tell me more about Milanote actually right now if you can, because note taking is something that I'm slightly sideline obsessed with.
It's not even note taking, to be honest. It's just I use it for everything. So I use it, and I've only started using it recently. Where when I joined Take 9, I saw Leah using it, Penny Productions Leah, and Killian was using it. I was like, what? Like what? I know we kind of pre-plan and we kind of plan this, but this thing is phenomenal. So like you can go there, you create a whole new board, and they say what business is this? So agencies, architecture, brand strategy, film, television, creative direction, graphic design, illustration, logo design, marketing, mood boarding, productivity, product management, startups, students. Like and that's half of them. So let's say I click the agencies one, it then gives you agency hub, design project plan, logo project plan, campaign brief, mood board, storyboards, team planner. Like for me, then I'll go film or TV, and it gives me my mood boards, my pre-production plan, the brainstorming, like beat sheets, which is like per scripts. Like you need a beat sheet because obviously for people who write scripts, there's a beat sheet that, let's say on page 45, you need to have this set in place in your story, or page 3 that, like, I'm going to deep dive into script writing here now a small bit, but like set up, conflict, resolution, and it helps you kind of get that whole thing across the beats and that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I highly recommend. And there's a free trial. I think it's like 14-day free trial. I just stick your head into it and I love it. The beauty of it as well is I build mood boards, I build brief sheets, and I literally just export them as PDFs and send them to clients. And the last people I worked with, Upfront Model Agent, they're like, geez, that brief is fantastic. Thank you so much. It's so in depth. And that was literally just my mood board with some details that I just exported out. So it's highly.
And it's not only for creators though.
Not necessarily. Like, so again, so website, well, kind of somewhat like the businesses would be here. So I said, so more templates. Sorry. So agencies, architecture, brand strategy, creative design, film and TV, graphic design, illustrations, management and strategy. So like even that alone is target audience, competitor landscape, brand SWOT analysis, team structure, stakeholder mapping, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And marketing, mood boarding,
Just
product
caught my
management.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. Like it's just, and even for startups, like the section like startup hubs, target audiences, lean canvas, whatever that is, product launch plans, all this kind of stuff. So I would highly UX, UA designs, UX, UI designs, website design, writing. So I'm not sponsored, but I'm going to get there, guys.
What's the cost?
Actually, I don't know. I think it's like 12 quid a month. Nothing crazy.
I love the way we'll go through this and everything's like, oh, it's just a tenner a month. It's just 12 quid a month. And then we walk out at the end that we've got 24 applications and we're spending
all 100. It's actually $10 a month.
That's very good.
It is. And that's unlimited boards. It's unlimited everything. So when I have a thing called FrameSet I use for kind of imagery. So what FrameSet is literally, it's a catalog of adverts, films, short films, all kind of stuff. And then I'll say fitness advert. And then it will literally give me all like Nike, Reebok, all their adverts in still frames and stuff. So it kind of gives me ideas and then I can drag and drop them into mood boards. I'm like, okay, I say to the client, how about this? They're like, I love that idea. And then I can work on that myself. And it's very cool.
Brilliant.
Nice. Judy, what about you?
Do you know what? Like I had this problem as well where there was just so many subscriptions and I had an Excel sheet. And also, when I give workshops, people give me more ideas. They're like, oh, I created this in Moodle and I created this. And then I'm like adding in all of these slides and like my mind blew up with all of them one year. And I was just like, I actually need to consolidate all of them. And like you said, Jay, I've got 5 as well. And they're 5 C's, which makes it really simple for me to follow. So it's ChatGPT, Camo Studio. So ChatGPT obviously is AI assistant, helps me write stuff and get my ideas clear. Camo Studio is my mobile phone plugged into my laptop and used as a webcam. And it just makes the whole setting so much nicer, a lot I can play with. CapCut for video editing, Canva for graphics and any kind of imagery and sometimes video, but not really. And then the Captions app, which I got from Jen, which adds the subtitles over your videos. So they're my top 5 C's. And then of course Wix, but I think we'll come to that at a different stage.
That's coming in the negative box. Shan, what about you? What tools could you not live without for your business?
Well, I couldn't. It's so weird because I suppose I use a lot that Judy uses. I don't use ChatGPT an awful lot, and that's because I'm really short content. I'm not a writer, so but I do use it definitely for ideas. I love Canva, definitely use it for my graphics. But honestly, the one thing that I really could never, ever live without is Google. Without my Google Calendar, I am nobody. I do not exist. Without Sheets and my Drive, I'm no longer working. So, it's really, really important to me. And Spotify. Spotify is a massive part of my business, whether it's putting together playlists for teaching Pilates or whether it's putting together playlists for content on social media. I use Spotify a lot. So, those would be mine.
I'd like to give a shout out to Elite Pilates. So I went for lunch with Shan on Friday when I was like a different person. I was in my Friday mode and she was like, you should come along to a class. And I was like, sure. Anyway, Monday comes along. I'm like ready to get into bed. And I look at my calendar, Google Calendar, and I'm like, Shan Pilates. And I'm like, shit, why did I say I do that? So I text her trying to get out of it. And she's like, well, and I'm like, all right, so I'll come. Best time ever. It was so much fun. And she is such a brilliant, I didn't even know that side of you, Shan, like the instructor, like fitness instructor kind of side. But Shan's voice, as we know, is so soothing and it's so like empowering. She's like, okay, and 8 and 7. And she's constantly counting down. So you're like, I'll get there, just push it a bit further. But brilliant at what you do. And I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice.
I'll take that.
Nice son.
Jen?
I think most of the tools have been covered, but one tool that I can't live without is Superhuman for email. I love it. To say I love it is an understatement. I blitz my emails. I have a whole system I did like an email on it before. I think Judy, you might be one person who got it at some point. But when I was working in an administrative role, like maybe 8 years ago or so, I took this course called Practical Productivity for Outlook at the time. And I went through this process of like, every time you get an email, you have to decide whether you're going to do it right now, which is like, if it's a 2-minute job, or just reply to it. You're going to delegate it if it's for someone else. You're going to task it if it's something to do for later, and you're going to delete it if it bears no relevance to you. But it's a process for keeping your inbox clean and making sure that you're on top of everything, essentially. Superhuman allows you to blitz this process with keyboard shortcuts. So it opens one email at a time in front of you, and you literally press Command K, and then it gives you like, do you want to move it to a folder? Do you want to delegate it? Do you want to task it? Do you want to add it to your calendar? And it integrates with Google Calendar. So, but it's a really smart inbox. So if I reply to you, Shannon, I'm like, okay, Tuesday at 2, it'll come up on the side of my screen to say, actually, you're blocked at Tuesday at 2. Here's your other recommended times. And it auto sends the invite with the meeting link, everything else. But a couple of weeks ago, it layered in AI, which has made it an absolute game changer. So now when someone does something like asks me, how do I give you access to my Google Tag Manager? I can hit reply and use the AI to go scan my emails and find where I've answered this question before and write it, and it writes it out.
Wow.
So it learns from my inbox what to say, what to do. And
I
if you're
am actually overheating even thinking about this. This is unbelievable.
But the best feature is that if I'm in a big, massive email thread, you can just hit the letter M, and it pops up a little box in front of you with just 5 bullet points summarizing the email thread in its entirety.
Wow.
So it just makes it, I receive at least 150 emails a day, and I can probably blitz them in 45 minutes. It is no hassle. And you can set up these little micro rules. So for example, I have one set up where if the email contains the word unsubscribe, automatically push to unsubscribe folder. And I can go through that later because my newsletters and bits and bobs are going to be in there. But you can set up these automations and everything else. So it's just an absolute lifesaver from like just sheer operations.
Leaps and bounds ahead of Apple Mail for Shen.
Yeah.
When you open that app every time, you open Apple Mail every time, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you using Apple Mail?
I don't even know what Apple Mail is. What is it?
The little blue one.
The little mail app. That's what you use, don't you?
No, I don't use that.
Yeah, you do. On your laptop, you do. You're always in there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do use that on my laptop. I don't use it on my phone, though.
That like hurts something inside me just there.
Oh, hurts me. Like
I think I deleted it.
Yeah, I use Gmail. I can't talk, but I think it is a bit better than mail. Like,
oh, for sure.
Well, do you know what? I'm much. I don't even think about it. I just click on the computer, it opens. I have my Gmail open. I'm just looking at the top of my screen now. I have my Gmail open as well because obviously mail doesn't let you do everything. But just quick, It's like because I'm old. It's like because I'm old.
I don't know.
Do you know what?
Shaming, Jay, you're tool shaming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my
You know
God.
what? Sometimes I have complete JOMO when it comes to this stuff. Look at me using JOMO because I get just overwhelmed by all these apps. And actually over Christmas, I downloaded a few and I was like, I'm going to make my pictures look better and I'm going to do this and do that. And I did 3 days, really concentrated to see if I liked it. And then I just like stopped the money coming out as quickly as I could. I couldn't find anything new that like took my fancy at all. The stuff that we use and that most people have mentioned, I think they're really good. And I think, can I just ask how much Superhuman is?
$30 a month.
Okay.
But once you log in with one email, you can log in with all your emails. So for me, I actually have like 4 systems running from the one. Now, it's probably one of my more expensive subscriptions that I use month to month. But how I justify a subscription at the moment is based on my hourly rate. How much does this save off that? And what's the opportunity cost of not using it?
I always think of them. Actually, last night at the club, we were talking about productivity and we were trying to get someone to outsource some of their business. And I was like, all of those sort of things I think of as a member of staff that never calls in sick. And obviously with the change in the law, you don't have to pay sick pay to an app. So that's great. So never calls in sick, never stresses you out, doesn't moan to you. and actually does like a really good job and saves you loads of time so you can get on with doing what you need to be doing in your business. So yeah, I've no problem with a good subscription.
Yeah. On that note, though, what apps or tools do stress you out, even though you have to use them? Judy, I'll kick off with you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Meta Business Suite, and I think everyone.
Oh well, don't get me started on Meta Business Suite. I'm so. I didn't even cross my mind because it's so frustrating, actually, because I just use it so much.
It's actually entered into the box of like, I actually can't even think about you. You frustrate me so much. So yeah, let me just steal that one, Jay. Well, I suppose, you know what? Now my whole business was built off of Adobe Premiere Pro for video editing, and I still love it, right? I still use it, but the landscape is changing so much now. I just feel like it hasn't evolved. Like, you know, the way CapCut has like sound effects built in. It's got like really cool transitions built in. I'm like, come on now, Adobe. Like, it's time to catch up and kind of bring that stuff in as part of it. Like, it's 60 quid a month or whatever I'm paying for the entire Adobe package and stuff like that. So it's just a little bit frustrating that, you know, it's better. You know, it's definitely better, but it's just, I feel like it should make a leap now into the kind of vertical video.
It's also famous for crashing and corrupting files. So like, I've known people who've worked 5-6 hours on a project and it just crashes and corrupts the files and they've just lost everything. They can't get it back. It's notoriously famous for that. So boo.
And you know what's funny as well about it is like everyone goes through that. Like everyone has a crash file and you always just think it's just you that it's happening to. You're like, why is the universe like kind of against me? And you're like, no, it's just actually the rite of passage. You have to go through every single error code to come out the other side of it and then go,
I never did it. I was Final Cut from day one.
Oh yeah.
So Premiere Pro is the kind of PC Android version of editing for video software, and then Final Cut is Apple's version. But I think people use Premiere Pro on Apple as well, obviously, and vice versa. Well, no, Final Cut doesn't go onto PC. Mm-hmm. But it's I've always looked at it. But even there's a new one called DaVinci Resolve where they said it's the updated version of Premiere. They've taken everything good of Premiere Pro and made it even better in their own software. So I'm kind of looking at that. But Premiere Pro can.
And DaVinci Resolve has a fantastic free variation as well, as far as I'm aware. Like you can do a lot with it for free. Quick question for you, Judy, on that. What do you think of Adobe's new suite of things like Firefly and the AI stuff that they're doing on the side? And also, I have a snaky little tip on the subscription for Adobe that I'm not like sure if it might need to be cut afterwards. We'll see how everyone reacts. But if you can't go in to cancel your subscription, a big warning comes up being like, you've 12 months left. We're going to charge you the whole year, blah, blah, blah. Just call their bluff, click continue. And then they're like, actually come back, we'll give you 3 months free. And you can just keep doing that.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. I don't think that should be something that they like. I think that actually happens all the time. Every time I go to cancel a subscription, I'm like, I can get it at a discount now. So I think that's a good
try cancel lots of your subscriptions because actually that happens all of the time. But you'll squeeze another 3 months out of it, build up a few more projects, especially if you're just starting out and using the Adobe suite, and then you can kick it back in again for another couple of months and rinse and repeat if you need to, if business isn't picking up, I guess. But
and just to be transparent about that, Jen, I don't know much about the new Adobe AI stuff at all. Like I'm still paying for everything, but it's After Effects and Premiere Pro that I jump into, and everything else I just kind of like whatever, do you know? But like I'd love to know, is there good stuff in there that I'm missing out on?
Worth checking out Firefly.
Yeah,
I'm seeing some good stuff come out of it.
And what's it
for?
Firefly
AI art, is it?
Yeah, you can do art in there. They also have plugins for Premiere, I believe. So it does things like automatically editing like a podcast and bits and pieces like that. Cool. Like it cuts it down, it switches the camera angles for you. Now, again, like ChatGPT, you have to go back in and fix it afterwards anyway, but it's done the legwork for you up front. And there's some little things there that are worth checking out.
Judy, there's one actually I meant to say to you as well. If you are video editors or whoever are listening, or Jen yourself, there's an app called Recut. It's 100 quid a month. But what it is you literally drag and drop the raw file in. So be it like a podcast. And what it does is it literally eliminates all of the dips and stuff and the kind of lull moments and this kind of stuff. Or you can kind of highlight stuff like that, those kind of noises, and then literally export it to your timeline in Final Cut, Adobe, wherever you're editing. It can just literally, but it's handy.
And that's what takes the time. Like when I used to go off and interview people, like open-ended interviews, open-ended questions, and just allow them to speak, like I'd spend hours removing the dead space, the just to make them sound extremely competent in their delivery. Like, and I think, you know, that's one thing that people don't realize that editors do. I think that they just think that we're just like kind of just moving things around. Like that's a very prominent part of our time. So that sounds like a great solution. Brilliant.
And I love that it's a once-off fee.
Cool. It's not 100 a month. It's 100.
No, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Brilliant.
99,
Nice.
I think, total.
Nice.
John, I think this year there's going to be a resurrection of these one-off fees. I mean, like I use Wondershare Filmora, which probably looks like the world's worst video editor to ePros, but it's a €75 one-off fee. And you've access to it for life. And actually some of the upgrades have been pretty good. But I've used it for years, so I can't bring myself to switch. The switching cost.
Yeah, I've seen ads for it. I think it looks solid enough. I've never actually delved deep into it at all, but yeah, it looks solid enough.
I think it's somewhere around CapCut-ish esque in terms of where it's at, but without the subtitles and some of the fancier features. But then they catch you with a subscription if you want like sound effects and this and that.
Yeah. Is that the AI editor you use then, is it?
No, I use the Captions app on my phone. So what I do is when I'm finished recording a video, usually I'll have something like I want the tool or whatever I'm talking about featured in there. So I drop it into Filmora, put that in, and then I export it completely raw from there into the Captions app. And then I just click AI edit. It just takes out all the silences, captions.
Yeah, I have a look. And does it do the zooms and stuff for you and all that kind of stuff?
Does all that. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know how to do any of those transition stuff. It does it all. It adds the sound effects. It even does AI music and everything in between. And
Shan is like, what is happening?
It does everything for me. I don't know how to edit. It just does it for me.
Do you have the Captions app, Shan? I think that would actually be a cool one for you.
No, I have
really
captions.
good.
I just put my video into stories, add captions, download it to my phone. So I put captions on, but I do it through Instagram.
Yeah.
I would recommend getting the Captions app. I would recommend getting the Captions app. Now, obviously, the way you're doing is free, but I think the Captions app is like €3 a month. And
yeah, but what's the difference?
So
the kind of
it does my
proper,
videos.
Yeah.
Zooms, music, it can actually change your eyes.
Okay, sorry.
And you know what? I suppose that's the bad part about it. It's called captions, so people just assume it's just captions. But when you dig into the stuff that you can do in there, you're like, oh, this is really cool. And you know what I love about it? It saves your transcript so that you can copy paste the transcript, and it will also create some like descriptions and hashtags for you as well that you can just copy paste into things. So it's a real time saver. Best thing that you never.
I'm going to try that this week. That's on my list. I will give that a go. Absolutely. I'm trying out Vizard as well at the moment, which is an AI. It cuts things down from longer form. So I'm playing with that this week.
If Shan Horn wants to go international, you can actually literally convert your film and your video into Spanish, and it uses your voice through the AI, and it'll be you speaking full Spanish.
I can tell.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's like I was speaking Japanese in one of my videos just to test it, like, and my son was doing French. Like, it's phenomenal stuff. Like,
it's so good. And I actually tested it against a Spanish speaker in the US. I was like, is this right? And they were like, yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
A bit formal, but correct.
Yeah, exactly. It was the exact same feedback I got. I was like, yeah, it's solid. It's quite by the book, but it's not very conversationalist, but you're getting the point across perfectly. Like,
in your voice.
Yeah, it's in your voice.
Oh my God.
And it changes the movement of your lips to match the movement that would be created in Japanese. So you're not like, or any language. So it's not like I might be saying, hello, how are you? And then it goes, hola, ¿cómo estás? But it moves your lips to be saying hola, ¿cómo estás at the same time.
Okay, I'm in. I'm playing with that. That's captions.
It's
just
fun.
Captions up.
Here's my issue with this, right? Shan is such an in-person person, right? That like, you know, that's where like she's brilliant at that. I'm worried now that Shan will like, you know, become a captions person. And then like, is Shan better off outsourcing the captions to an external editor, or what do you think?
Not necessarily. I think Shan, like, keep doing what you're doing with stories and stuff, because that's what people know you for, and they know the real you, and you're there and you're talking and chatting stuff. But if you're doing TikToks or you're doing reels and you're putting it out there, I think that's where captions will come in, because all my videos have, that's all captions, all that text you see. I literally just put it in and export it out in different templates. And even for my client work, like I have different clients that do videos, and I have templates built for them. So when it's their video, I just click that template and it's their text and their font and their coloring and this kind of stuff. But I think like that, just separate the reels from the stories, and it could be a nice way to do it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a look. I want to do something. So that, I'll give it a go. I will download that as soon as we're off this call. Amazing.
Are you looking to elevate your marketing and social media? Our podcast is proudly sponsored by Azure Communications, who have the perfect solution for all of your marketing needs.
Whether you need digital marketing, content creation, print, design, or direct mail, they have the skills and expertise to help you improve your brand awareness and drive business growth.
Get in touch with them today for a free social media audit or to find out more at www.azurecom.ie.
That's AZURECOMM.ie.
Now, we did skirt our way back into apps that we love. So let's skirt back to apps that we're struggling with. I think we just did Judy. So Jay, what about you?
Apps I'm struggling with would be Instagram, not amazing. TikTok, I actually find TikTok very restricting. Do you ever find that? Is it just me? I think like it's just if you're messaging people or like you can send GIFs and photos and this kind of stuff, it's really restricting that sense for communication. But I know they're trying to get attention like that. But Wix website is messy. Like it's the Meta Business Suite isn't great at all. I'm looking here at my apps, what I have here that I use every day. I stay away from TikTok. I think it's a cancerous. It's from X or Twitter, whatever it's called. It's cancerous, I think. Reddit, I don't go on. Like for some reason, they target men with either fucking thirst traps and women or people getting really hurt. And I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. That's cool, I guess. I'll just go on I'll just feed my child here.
There goes my mental health for the day.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want to see that happening. But other than that, nothing's really jumping out. If something jumps out at me, I'll pipe up, but I don't think nothing's really pisses me. Because if it is, I delete it. I don't have time for that shit. I'll find an alternative. And if the alternative isn't great, but it's better, like, I'm in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
One that annoys me, actually, Jen, that I do use, but it's Voxer. I like all of everything to be clear. I don't ever, like, I'm like you, clean inbox. It's too much for my brain. And Voxer just does this thing where you've replied and it tells you haven't. And it's the most frustrating thing ever. Like at the moment, I've got like 28 messages telling me that I need to reply to messages, and they're all replied to, and that number doesn't disappear. And it creates space in my brain. And I don't understand why they do it.
Can you describe it to me, Shan? It's for communicate. It's like a WhatsApp kind of thing, is it?
Yeah, it's like a walkie-talkie. It's a walkie-talkie, basically. So, like Jay, I use it with my VAs. So when something comes to mind, I actually send it. I have another mobile for my work phone. So if I think of an idea as I'm walking down the street, I actually Voxer myself. It's just really annoying. It's just brain space, and I hate if I see someone's screen and it's got like number digits. I think I was at home at Christmas and my sister had like 3,000.
Absolutely triggered. No, I can't. I can't. Absolutely no.
My sister had some like 3,000 in her blue mailbox that you were talking
double
about.
Trigger.
Just mark it as red, like, because you're never going back to those. You're never going through that. Just mark it all as red and move on.
Yeah, I was like, please let me clean that. Please let me do that for you. I can't look at that. Voxer annoys me with that. And look, I'm a great fan of organic marketing because I hate Meta Business Suite so much. And that's why. So they're missing out on money from me without a doubt.
I actually cleared my co-founder Craig's inbox a few months ago because he was sick, and I was like, I'll keep on top of your emails for a couple of days. What deep satisfaction that I can't even describe that I got from clearing that man's inbox was like nothing else. I had folders, I had appointments, I had everything sorted. I turned back into the best PA anyone could imagine for those few weeks. And then I gave the inbox back. And a few weeks later, I checked in on it and I was like, hypervent. I was like, there was a system. It was done for you. Like, doesn't matter. I used the notes app and I was like,
I love it.
When it comes to email, I'm not that organized. I have a few folders like invoices, this kind of stuff, but like overall, I just kind of tip away as I go.
Do you know
I
my
would like that.
my most important folder is my holiday folder. Any bookings I make, any flights into that folder,
Nice.
it brings me great satisfaction on a really cold, dark day just to open that file and know that the world is going to change in a couple of weeks.
On that note, I have a folder that's just called nice things. And if someone sends me like a nice email or something, I just put it in there. And then some days, if it's really shit, I will go into that inbox and be like, do you know what? The world isn't that bad.
Yeah, that's nice to do.
More of that.
All 4 emails. No, I'm joking.
I have the exact same thing. Right, but it's a folder on my desktop, so I take a screenshot of the nice things, and it's actually called nice things, and then underneath that is
That's
crazies.
so funny. It's called nice things,
and it's called crazies. Then underneath, and the crazies one is sometimes more entertaining than the nice things one. I just go in there sometimes to remind myself that it's yin and yang.
Yeah, it's true.
On the toolkit side of things that burn a hole in my life, Meta Business Suite. I'm in and out of it every day. There's no escaping Meta Business Suite for me. So I have like systems for the madness, I guess, at this stage. But like, it's only going to get messier as they roll out more and more things in there. And then there's Google Tag Manager. If anyone has tried to set up tracking to get their ads done properly, best of luck with that nightmare. And then all of these have a trickle effect into the website tool you decide to use. So like Wix, Squarespace, a lot of these kind of like very simple, easy to use, they make your life harder in a few months. So what I mean by that is like day one, you get set up, everything is delightful and very, very happy. And next thing you realize your page speed is too slow. You can't integrate tracking. You can't start making money off it. And the monetization really slows down for you. And then you're starting to like patchwork things like an unbounced landing page to make it faster, to get people to the ad through. And sometimes I feel like I'm just making a big quilt of like different tools for people to make things work. So that's I guess my number one frustration is just all of these apps not really talking to each other. Like everything should be integrated with at least the biggest players. Like one of my biggest frustrations is that like I love Notion and I'd love to start using it way, way more than I currently do, but it won't integrate with my Google Calendar. Not even Zapier, not even when I try to stitch it together with 10 different other tools that I'm willing to pay for just for this one piece of information to sync up. Stitching together things can be really difficult.
I think Jen is a great opportunity to explain Zapier to people who haven't heard about it. Like I've only used it successfully once, but can you explain what you use it for and how you use it?
Zapier is like another employee. Like it can do a lot of your basic administrative tasks that you'd otherwise maybe be doing manually. Example, say if you have leads coming in on your Wix website, but you want them to automatically be in MailChimp, but you don't, or any scenario there's probably actually a default integration. But where those tools won't talk to each other, you can look at Zapier and see if there's a solution there. Now, my Notion Google example, there was no instance of that. There was a Notion to Google, but not a Google to Notion, which was really annoying. But essentially, you could think of any app, 2 apps that you want to talk to each other and maybe send information across. One good example is that we use Zapier a lot to send leads that come in on Facebook directly into a CRM, so that somebody doesn't have to manually download them and then go off and import them. The Zap does it for them. So Zapier is a fantastic resource that way. There's another alternative to it called If This Then That, IFTTT. And it's kind of similar, but I love the name of it because it explains it. So it's like, if this happens, then that happens, is what you're doing across different tools. There's another one as well that the name, Bardeen, Bardeen. And it's an AI variation of Zapier, which I am playing with at the moment, which is quite interesting.
I always explain it to people, when you're a kid, and maybe you didn't do this when you were a kid, but certainly back in my day, you get 2 egg boxes and the piece of string, and you pretend to be a walkie-talkie, and the string would work to connect the 2 egg boxes. The string is Zapier for me. Does that make, just trying to simplify it. So we have member space. It doesn't, we couldn't just plug it into our website. We had to use Zapier. So the Zapier sits in the middle and makes them talk to each other.
It's a middleman. Yeah, it's a middleman for most websites. Right? It's like
the egg thing was
you'd be surprised.
Completely the wrong analogy.
I want to try that now. I want to see if that's still works.
I know, that's all I'm thinking about now for the rest of this episode.
It works, Jules. It actually works. It's amazing.
We'll do next week's episode on it. So
yeah, and the egg cups, down to fucking Tralee and Cork and fucking.
Yeah, well, I think it's just one room to the next.
We'll do our next in-person one with it. So
yeah.
Oh God.
Brilliant. Okay, so when it comes to a tool that you're maybe using for the first time, what or underrated in your opinion that you'd like to share with someone else, what tool do you think is most underrated that you use that everyone should be using, that they're not, or just one that you're finding really great? Something that would help someone from the teach me something new perspective. Everyone looks like they're in sheer panic, so I'm happy to go first.
I'm okay.
I'm like, oh shit.
For me, Jen, as a small business owner, I hear a lot of the time, I always ask people, from the time you start speaking to a client until the time you close the client, whatever. And I always share, well, there's a few emails that go back and forth. There's this, that. So for me, a really easy tool that I always introduce to people is Calendly, because people can email you. You can send them back an email. You can book the time. You don't have to go back and forth. What time suits you? You can send them a little, survey of sorts or inquiry form, so you have information before you meet them, and it can take hours out of people's times, especially for small business owner or people working by themselves.
Yeah, that's a great tip. On my end, I don't know what browsers. What browser do you all use?
Brave.
Chrome.
Brave. Chrome. Okay, I use a browser called Arc, ARC. And it's built on Chrome, similar to how Brave is built on Chrome. But it has this feature called Spaces, which I'm obsessed with. So essentially, you can have a space for everything. So like when I look here now, I have content creation, WBRs. Those are like our internal meetings. I have one for every single client. Then I have like personal trips, just whatever else I'm working on side project-wise. And I can just switch space and everyone's like their tabs are already open. I could just go to client X and their Google ad account is open, their Facebook, like all their tabs are open. So I don't have like this switching cost between different projects. I can just switch to the projects. You can have 4 core favorites, which I love. So I've like my Gmail, Google Calendar, Notion, and Teamwork, which is what we use for kind of project management, that sits in each and every single one of those spaces as well.
Do you have to log into every separate one? Do you have to log into like the Gmail for the accounts and stuff?
No. There's like a little. I'll actually just share what it looks like here so that you can see really quickly, because I'm actually in it here.
I'm imagining it's like bookmarks without being shit, which bookmarks just yeah,
exactly, yeah. So you can see here that like I have all my tabs for content creation here. So these are my ideas. These are saved ideas. This is Viral Finder, idea validation, my thumbnails, my captions app, because they have a web option now. Anyway, my email, Substack, LinkedIn, everything else in here. And you can see I'm in this now because we're doing the podcast and it's the content creation side. Now I can actually just like switch through these. I put smiley faces here temporarily just because I don't want to, I'm sharing my screen, so I can't really share the client information. But yeah, you just dial your way through them, or you can go up here and just click spaces and it'll drop down. You just click it and all the tabs will open up again on the left. It's really, really handy.
Will you just click into your viral ideas there so we can have a quick look? Or
yeah. Best of luck.
Just a quick sconce. Just a quick
look. What's coming down the line?
Ooh.
But it's really good to organize everything out. Yeah. The one quick tip though is if you set it up, you have to go into your settings in Arc, and in the general tab, it says archive tabs after it's defaulted to 30 minutes, change it to 30 days. Otherwise, every time you move spaces, all the tabs disappear, which I don't understand why that's the default, because it's the sole purpose of me using it. But anyway, just switch the default to 30 days, because you'll definitely end up in one of the spaces at least once every 30 days kind of a thing is my thought process behind it.
Okay, yeah.
But
So once you land, it kind of refreshes to the next 30 days.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you noticed, but there was like some tabs on the top and some tabs on the bottom. You can just clear out all the ones on the bottom, which means you can have like working ones and core ones that always need to be there, and ones that you're just using one off and things like that. So deeply organized workspace. Fun in art.
Like it.
My one is going to actually, there's kind of a negative thing. I think Google Drive is atrocious. I think it's an awfully clunky thing to work with.
Yeah.
So I love, I'm not saying it's better, but WeCollect I like WeTransfer as well. WeTransfer is huge for me and clients and just sending that kind of stuff off. But WeCollect can be a small bit clunky. Some people can't access files here and there, but it seems to be getting better and better. But for file sharing and that kind of stuff, I like to have, because once you have a pro membership, you have all the files that you've transferred. You can set days and times and limits and stuff. But I just think Google Drive is super clunky. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I actually, it's mostly small jobs I use my Drive for, but I use WeTransfer an awful lot as well, and I do love it.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know what it is so for the free version, you can send up to 2 gig files, but for the pro version, it's up to 200 gig files. So if I'm sending a client, whatever, be assets or digital stuff, and it's 68 gigs, I literally just drag and drop it and kind of walk away or whatever it is, or work in the background, and it's just going to them. Now, obviously their download will have to be huge as well, but it's just handy, because the alternative is buying a hard drive, filling the hard drive, and posting the hard drive. So,
Yeah. And you know what I find really, this is just a random side note on WeTransfer, is they do a really good job of only upselling to their ideal customer profile. Their ideal customer profile is someone who's going to be sending those bigger files, but they get the word of mouth out of their free option, which allows the everyday person like me as a marketer and things like that to use it pretty freely. And I don't think a lot of products get that right with their free version. They either give too much or give too little, but actually they restrict it just at that sweet point, I would say, for creators where, one chunky video file is going to be more than 2 gigabytes, and you're kind of in the pro zone at that point. Whereas everything before that is kind of like, I'll just send that to you on WeTransfer. It's bigger than 25 megabytes for my email or whatever else. They really got that. That's a total tangent. But if you're thinking of ever doing a subscription with your free to paid model, think about what is the sudden restriction on your paid model that fits your ICP perfectly.
You've won when your brand literally comes into conversation, the scenario of, I'll WeTransfer that.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's just, I'll WeTransfer you. And someone's like, oh yeah, I'll get you, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, completely. Judy, what about you?
Okay, so here I am going to stand up for my good old trusty Wix, right? What I've learned
Prepare to be slated.
I know. Tool shaming part 2. So, okay, right. So I realized, Jen, right, that Google doesn't like it, and it's not going to get me the type of really quick sales, international kind of business. However, as a brochure website that I can completely manage myself without outsourcing anything, I think it's brilliant. I capture all my leads there. I've automated email set up. I'm currently hosting my online course on there. I do all my CRM within there. I do invoicing within there now. So what I'm seeing is, right, it's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect, but they're getting enough people signing up that they're actually spending time on developers making it better. So I'm along for the ride with Wix. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it there.
Hashtag
it's all well and good now, Judy, until I run that website through the page speed insight score and we can't change any of the biggest problem, I can see it already in the little list. It's going to say reduce unused JavaScript. And do you know what you can't touch? The fucking JavaScript. To be fair, it is a really good starting tool. If I was going to start somewhere, I'd usually tell people to opt for maybe Squarespace over Wix, only because, again, I'm coming at it from if I have to run ads for you, I'm more fucked if you're on Wix than if you're on Squarespace. But there is always these workarounds in the middle. What I would say is that the only scenario where I definitely would say push the brakes and have a real think is if you're trying to build e-commerce on one of those.
Yeah.
There's a chap I follow, Creator Science, Jay Klaus, his name is. If you get a chance there, you're there while you're on the podcast, have a look at the website he's built. It's called creatorscience.com. And it's a landing page. Now I've been trying to see what it is. There's different like subscribe, it's courses. If you click join the lab, it kind of gives you a break. Actually click join the lab is what I'd like you to do. So join.creatorscience.com. It's just such a sexy website. It's so sleek. I know he uses Loom for videos and stuff, but just the text, the emojis, the screen captures, I think it's such, and obviously mobile friendly completely. And it enters everything in the one landing app on the one landing page.
Do you know what? If we have an extra couple of minutes, right? CreatorScience.com, analytics and tracking. They're using ConvertKit, First Promoter, Google Analytics, and Fathom Analytics, which is interesting. For widgets on the site, in order to convert people, they're using a tool called Cove for their blogs. They're using ConvertBox to deliver targeted on-site messages based on visitor behavior. They're using ImageKit.io to look at the statistics of how the images are being optimized on their site. They're actually using Slack, Google Tag Manager, and they're using TypeKit, which is totally normal for their fonts. They're using Google Fonts in some instances as well. They use reCAPTCHA for their security. They're using schema, organization schema, which is interesting. So that is what they're using for the school corporation side of things. And it's built on PHP. So that's kind of actually, it's a very custom website. So I don't think it was built on any platform in particular. And they are using Cloudflare for their server. And that's likely going to speed that up dramatically, along with another tool called Bunny CDN. And that is really helpful for image compression to speed it up as well. And
Jen, where are you getting all of this information from? From source code?
No, builtwith.com. Drop any URL in there and it'll give you the full list of tools they're using on their site.
Classic.
Say that again?
Builtwith.com.
Oh, I definitely want to check that out.
Also, just and a handy tip as well. Hunter.io is a Chrome extension. I don't know if you have that. Hunter, and what that is do you know what that is? It's just literally if you go to any website, let's say you go to the Castlemartyr Hotel and you click Hunter, what that does is it gives you every employee's email, be it the marketing manager, the GM, all this kind of stuff, and it just gives you there and you literally take it.
Hunter.com.
Hunter.io.
Hunter.io. It's a Chrome extension.
Wow.
So let's say if you go to any website, you go to the club and you click Hunter, you're going to get Shan's email, you're going to get a marketing email, you're going to get all this kind of stuff. So
yeah, and last little small wrap up tip to align with the Hunter one is producthunt.com is a goldmine for tools, as in you go there and everyone who's just launched a tool will launch it on Product Hunt, especially in the States where they're VC backed or anything like that, because it's like a club almost at this stage. And like you go in and then there's like a little box to the right and it says vote. So people will vote on how good the tool is, but you're blind to the votes until the end of each day. So you can see yesterday's and who won. So you go in and you can check them out and not be influenced by the votes off the bat. But I find 90% of the tools that I'm excited about trying especially in the AI space from Product Hunt.
okay.
Can I just say, Aoife, our editor, is in the background, right? And she puts a list of all the stuff that we've spoken about in each episode at the end of the Spotify or YouTube. Usually it's like 6 or 7. Now, the poor girl, I'm just like, she's going to have like 100 different things that she's going to have to find the website.
Aoife, drop the transcript into ChatGPT and ask it to summarize a list of the tools for you.
Beautiful.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. I think that's it, is it?
Yeah,
I think so. Thanks everyone for listening again. And we'll see you all next week. Any feedback, as always, feel free to drop any of us a line and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Amazing.
Review and rate us.
Oh yes, follow.